Well, then why do we need to perform good? Why does Kafka write about it, right? It's that endless spiral into the intellectual abyss, and this is what Kafka is about. So, unsere Kunst ist ein von der Wahrheit geblendet sein. Das Licht auf dem zurückweichenden Fratzengesicht ist wahr, sonst nichts. And Chris, I could talk about this until 11 p.m., but I don't think we want to expose our...
No, this is great.
We have already been very patient for...
No, I think we've been doing great. Our art is one of being bedazzled by truth. The light cast on the recoiling, contorted face is true, and nothing else is. Now this is very interesting. No, please, go as in-depth as you'd like, because I can see already in your eyes the kind of passion about this aphorism. Go, please.
Yeah. So, our art. Well, the first question is, whose art? Right? If Kafka doesn't say my art, then it would be Kafka's art. But he says unsere Kunst. And Kunst, as we know, is, in the German context, certainly not just pictorial art. It is art with a capital A. And it's also not the arts. It's not the... I mean, it is the umbrella term for, painting and music and literature and so on and so forth. But we are here deep in the Western metaphysical idealist tradition. Art is more, in a way the Romantics would say, infinitely more than the individual lowercase a arts, right? So that's why it makes sense for Kafka to say unsere Kunst. In English, art with a capital R is one of being bedazzled by truth. Geblendet is if I am blinded. So here, with all respect, as I said, this is an amazingly faithful translation, but bedazzled I would substitute by is blinded by, because the next sentence goes into the light. But let's stay with the bedazzled, the bedazzling, being blinded by truth. This goes back, as we know, to German idealism. Again, the philosophical challenge to this is how do we not reconcile it? How do we deal with that tension between the noumenal world, the world of ideas and truth, and the sensuous reality here and now? How do we grasp something of the truth in the realm, in the metaphysical realm, in such a way that we can find something where that truth is, if not accurately reflected, but where it manifests itself, maybe imperfectly, but we get some inkling of what that truth may be. The best object for this, because Kafka himself sets up that paradoxical energy where, you and I could now and have a wonderful dialogue. So our art is one of being blinded by truth. Hegel says that truth manifests itself to some extent in the shine afforded by the beautiful, by art. And as you know, philosophers have worried or fussed about the meaning of shine, and we need to bring that on the table, because shine in German is related to S-H-I-N-E, as in the sun shines. So something becomes apparent to an extent that it blinds us, like when we look into the sun. But shine also, and because of that, means appearance or semblance or even illusion. what Baudrillard later on may call simulacrum. But Baudrillard would say the simulacrum is a semblance, something, a copy without an original. Hegel, of course, would say, well, no. And Kafka would say, no. The semblance here, the shine, is something where something shines into my eyes, metaphor for my cognitive understanding. And it really manifests itself, but only in a partial way, and it blinds me. So art is not something for Kafka that we enjoy. Art is not something that is uplifting, or, as the idealist thought, even redemptive. No, Kafka thought that art gives us a truth that shatters us. Famously, he said, well, what is art? Art is the axe in the frozen sea within us. And I think he meant literature. So I think literature is the axe in the frozen sea within us. So he assumes that the subject's interiority is something where, our affects, our insights, our fears and hopes have frozen. And we can't unfreeze it, not by our own will. That's why we need literature, and by literature, Kafka here really means art. We need art to intrude us violently and be the axe, the violent axe in that terribly frozen sea within us. And this is what's going on here. So art itself, not the subject. The axe cuts away the frozen sea in the subject, in the human subject. Here, Kafka goes one decisive step further and says, art itself is blinded by truth. And because art is blinded by truth, truth manifests itself in the semblance of art, in the artifice that a painting sets up, a fiction sets up, a music composition sets up. But this manifestation of truth in art is not something that we can immediately understand, because art itself is blinded by it. Not totally becoming blind, but it is blinded. In a way, the translator is right calling it bedazzled, fascinated but confused. And why? And that's why I insist that it's not really bedazzled but blinded. Das Licht, the light cast on the recoiling, contorted face is true, and nothing else is. And scholars have tried to speculate what Kafka means by the Fratzengesicht. A Fratze is a grimace, a grimace, where my face becomes contorted because I am faced with an unexpected fear or joy or whatever, right? So my presumably true face is being distorted by the light of truth as it manifests itself in art, but only in a distorted way. And Kafka, being Kafka, totally leaves open what the Fratzengesicht is, the contorted face is. Is that the metaphoric face of a poem, a musical composition, a painting? Is it the Fratzengesicht of the viewer, or the listener, or the reader? Or what is it, right? Kafka always stops and puts in a gap at the decisive moment when other philosophers, or philosophers in general, would now really explicate it.